Yes, good morning to all of you. Am I audible to all of you, dear participants? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you are audible.
Okay, thank
Yes, ma'am.
It's Pallavi, ma'am. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay. Yes, dear participants, a very fresh good morning to all of you. On the behalf of Dr. D.Y. Patil School of Engineering, I, Dr. Shobha Rupna, welcome you all for the today's seminar, Research Paper Writing and Publications. I welcome our respected principal, Dr. Farooq Sayed, all heads of the department, and teaching staff of DYPSOE for their presence. Dear participants, this seminar is open for all researchers, professors, industry persons, academicians from different areas who are interested in writing the research paper and wish to publish their research paper in reputed journal. The seminar will give more focus on how to write research paper, review paper, how to write journal abstract, research methodology, citation, plagiarism, and the process of calculation of impact factor. Dear participants, the seminar has been divided into two sessions. Morning session is started from 11 a.m. onwards, and the session will be conducted by Dr. Rakesh Afre. Afternoon session is started from 3 p.m. onwards, and the session will be conducted by Dr. S.M. Khairnar. We are extremely hopeful that this seminar is also going to be a great success like every year, and we request for your support in making it successful. I think Dr. Rakesh Afre is with us now. So I would like to extend a special welcome to our guest, Dr. Rakesh Afre. Sir has completed his Master of Science from North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, and doctoral studies from Nagoya Institute of Technology, Japan. If we talk about research areas, major research areas of interest are energy, nanotechnology, material science, and photovoltaic devices. He has more than 20 research publications in national and international journals with patents. He is a reviewer of international journals like Advances in Optoelectronics, Chemical Physics, Letters, Synthetic Metals, Thin Film Solids, Surface and Coating Technology, Material and Design, and so on. Presently, he is working as Associate Professor at Ajeenkya Patil University, which is located at Lohegaon. Sir, you are requested to start this session. I will hand over mic to you. Dr. Rakesh Afre, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Welcome. Yes, sir, you are audible now.
Okay. Thank you, Shobha ma'am, and thanks to the organizers, especially the head of the Department of Engineering Sciences, then Professor Khairnar sir, Professor Kazi sir, and Shobha madam for inviting me for this session on writing of a research paper. Okay, ma'am, can you just give me, can you just stop your sharing so that I can share my PPT?
Okay, sir. Give me one second.
Yeah.
Please check, sir. Sir, please check.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm sharing my screen. Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. Full screen now. Okay. So first of all, when we write a research paper, that is a really important part of any research. Okay, as we know, like when we do our PhD or during our masters or our bachelor study, so it is very important that when we write a research paper, because as you know, when we do a research, it has to get recognized somewhere else. Okay, it has to get recognized somewhere else, then only the people will know that how active you are in a research. Okay, so through research paper or through publication, we show our knowledge or our research understanding to the people, and then the people will understand about then how active we are or what kind of a research area people are working on. So that for that purpose, this writing a research paper is a very important part of any research. Okay, if you suppose if you have already published or done some of the very good work, then and you're not published those things, okay, so it is not actually, it is a kind of unethical thing. So that's why we need to publish a paper. So publication is a part which is a very important of a important for every researcher. And then nowadays we see there are many people who publish a lot of papers over there. But again, after publishing a paper, there is a very important thing is to how this paper is getting cited. That's very important part again, because the citation really makes us important, that how our research is active, how many people are referring our research. So for that purpose, publication of paper is important, but the very important thing is to get it cited. Okay, So like when we are writing this scientific paper or a research paper, okay, it has to be written in a very proper format, depending on which journal we are expecting to get published. Okay. So again, it is very important that what is your work, okay, how you can see that, okay, that this work is going to publish in a particular journal. Okay. So this is a very important part, that when we are writing a research paper, so many of the times we always land up in a dilemma. Okay. And we don't understand that, yes, the way we are doing a work, okay, and when we are writing a thing, okay, it's a different thing. Then what is going to happen? Some of the people, when they are writing a paper, okay, even their work is very good, but writing the lack. Due to this lack of writing, the paper which has to publish in a very good journal having a very good impact factor, high impact factor, so they'll end up, you know, choosing some very simple journal and publish their work. So that simple mistake generally people do. So for that purpose, writing is a very important part of any research. Okay, so that's why, as Pope said, okay, true is writing comes from art, not a chance. Okay, as those who move easiest have learned to dance. Okay, so it's not the easiest way to do the writing. So research we can do, okay, we can get a good result, but the writing is a very important part of any of the research. So for that purposely, whenever we start a research, we do a lot of effort in getting the result. As you know, when we start a research, we particularly design a particular problem. The problem statement we design, and after designing that problem statement, then we understand the background information that we call as a literature survey. And that's very important when you are showing that how differently you are working on a particular research area. Okay. So for that purpose, uh, we have to have a very good background knowledge of a particular research, what you have chosen for your PhD or for any kind of research. So that it should not get repeated. Okay, so that literature survey is a very important part which we need to follow and do a very extensive literature survey. Then only we'll understand that in which direction we are going to go. And you will have more and more information about the what people are doing around the world. How many see the when you are writing a research paper or doing a research, reading a lot of research paper is the first task we need to follow. I always tell my PhD student to do this task very extensively, because at later stage they will not have any problem of understanding in which direction they are going. So for that purpose, see, these are the things once you have done. Okay, so whatever we do, like writing a research paper, sorry, reading a research papers, always take a notes of it. Okay, highlight those important parts what you are learning from that particular research paper. So you do that, okay, so that you can incorporate those things later on in your research paper. Okay, not as it is in your own language. Okay, so that language has to be a very different. Okay, it has, when you are publishing your paper, the language is your own language, how you are interpreting your result. Okay, how you are interpreting your materials and methods. Okay, how you are describing a particular the very important part when you are designing, sorry, once you have a research result are ready, the first important part is the writing research paper, and it has to be in a particular manner. Okay, the first we start from the title. See, don't worry about the title at the earliest. Okay, but just simply you put a very simple title at the beginning. Then the next part is the abstract. The abstract is a very important part which we need to highlight over there. Okay, as you know, when you writing down the entire flow of this research paper, so it starts from your title, then your affiliations, then comes as abstract, then the introduction part, then comes as a materials and methods, then research and discussion part, then comes is your like any conflict of interest or you want to acknowledge somebody else. Okay, the organization which provide the funding for your research, okay, particularly your university or any funding agency or the government agency or maybe an industry which provides the funds to do this particular research. And then we write a references. Okay, so these are particularly flow we generally follow while writing the research papers. So now when you are writing a abstract, okay, the abstract is a very important part which gives a reader a clear understanding of what you want to say in your paper. So the abstract will highlight each and every part in a very short paragraph. Okay, as you know, though, abstract is always a one paragraph. Okay, it has hardly maybe 200 words, 200 to 250 words, and then it highlight each and everything about that. What is your problem statement? Okay, what is the background information you got from this problem statement? What people have done earlier? Okay, what material methods you have used? Okay, and what is the result you have expected or from this particular work? So all that thing should come in your abstract part, so that whenever the reader reads your paper, so he understands, yes, this paper is very important for me, and then he go next step, he go and read your introduction, materials and method part, the experimental section, what we call it as. Okay, then he understand about, go through the your result and discussion and understand what exactly you have written in your paper. Okay, if it is interesting, then he can thoroughly read your paper and get the idea from there. Okay, so this is a recipe we generally follow when we are writing a research paper. Okay, so what is exactly the reason? So once you have done those things, okay, you have collected the entire result, okay, about a particular work. Okay, so what is generally happens over there? Let's see, when you are you have a research problem, you have background information, and now you are started working on it. Okay, you are doing experimental work, you are doing maybe like theoretical work, okay, by using some software and other things. And then when you are getting those results, okay, so we generally identify a particular parameters, okay, to give a judgment to that particular work. So that parameters as well as the variables in that parameters. Okay, so that is a very good combination. So you have, like, let us say maybe 4 to 5 parameters, and in that 4 to 5 parameters, you are having a variables, let us say maybe 3 or 4 variables. So if you do that combination together, okay, as you know, there are a lot of when you say in a probability, that how many probable combination you can make by these parameters and the variables, and through that you start working on it. So I just want to share one thing which is very important when you have like many parameters and many variables. So how we are going to short it down? Okay, the very simplest way of doing the things. So for that purpose, if you know the Norio, sorry, I forgot the name of the scientist, the Taguchi. Okay, the Taguchi is a Japanese scientist who has developed a Taguchi method, which is actually used for when you have many parameters and many variables. So you can use a Taguchi concept, okay, where you can actually work on all these parameters very effectively and get your result within a short span of time. Instead of, see, when you have like 4 or 5 parameters, and then you have maybe like 3 or 4 variables. So when you do those combinations, you think that how many different ways you are going to work on it. So for that purpose, this Taguchi method, which plays a very important role over there, to understand that parameter and how you can judge each and every parameter without repeating them again and again. Okay, and give the judgment to your all the parameters as well as the variables. So once you do that, definitely you will get a very good result about all this thing. And once you have all those results, we do let us say maybe some characterization part over there to get understanding of whatever you are done. Okay, or you just run some program and then you get a result from that particular parameters. Now, once you get those results which are very outstanding, and then you thought that now you think that yes, this is a way. Now I got a result. Now I'm going to publish it. Okay, and then actually the things start very complicated. Okay, so whatever the result we got, we need to now we are going to publish it in a very good journal. As you know, there are many n number of journals are there. Okay, but depending on our research area, okay, the topic, what is our research topic, accordingly we choose a journal. Okay, and
Sir,
but before that we
sir,
need to create.
Rakesh sir, sorry to interrupt you. I think your
Yeah.
slides are not moving, sir.
No, I am continuously moving my slides. See, I am on
Okay.
now fourth slide. Is it okay? What is your reason for to
Now,
publish?
now it is visible. Now it is visible. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, maybe I think I don't know when I do a presentation, maybe it say so. I'll just keep it as it is. Is it fine? Instead of going for a full
Yes,
presentation, okay?
yes.
Hmm? Okay, I think if it is, I think it is visible to everyone.
The slides are visible. Slides are visible.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you. So now once you have all this thing, now we are going to write a paper. Okay, so that's why whatever result we have, so don't keep it those results, you try to publish it. Okay, try to publish those results, okay, in a proper manner as per the journal requirement. Okay, so that basic structure you create first. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, so basic that structure has to be created. Okay, where you have all the your title. Okay, so title you can finalize maybe later on once you complete your entire paper, and then you decide that what is the title I should actually give. Okay, and then you start writing the abstract. Okay, so the abstract, as I mentioned, the abstract you should put all those things. Okay, the background information. Okay, the literature survey, then the your work what you have done. Okay, then methodology some part, and then expected result. Okay, what result you are expected
Yes,
from
sir.
it.
Sorry to disturb you.
Yeah, yeah.
Afre, sir,
Yes,
please
sir. Yes, please.
shift to the presentation mode, please.
Okay, yeah, oh, sir. Okay, sir. Okay,
Yes, thank you,
because
sir.
see that's the problem when I put in a presentation, so I don't know, maybe the slides are not moving. Okay,
Okay,
sir,
okay,
I'll put it there, sir. No issue, no issue.
okay. Thank you.
Is it visible now, sir?
Let me check. It is not happen at my side.
Okay, maybe the network from your end
Possible,
might be.
impossible. Else, we can see the things. No issue as such.
Sir,
Oh, this
slides
is
are visible. Yes, we
wait,
can see your slides, sir.
now it is fine, maybe.
It's
Huh? Okay.
yes, sir. Yes. Fine.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. So we are going to do that. Okay. So abstract we have written. Now we are going to write a introduction part where actually we are giving a more focus on a literature survey. Okay, what people have done. Okay, how the research has been started. Okay, no need to go like a very long back, but you can just give a like one or two sentence regarding that how this research has been started. But whenever we write the introduction part, so we generally give a more recent result. Okay, let us say maybe from last 5 to 10 years, how this research has been progress. So that progression you can highlight in your introduction part. Okay, don't go for a very maybe 2 or 3 decades back and then you are highlighting in your introduction part, because as you know this research is progressing in so fast way in the last decade that you can't see that there are a lot of work is going on in many different direction. People are working on it. So I don't uh, ask everybody to go maybe 2 or 3 decades back and then cite those papers. So instead of that, you just consider maybe last 10 years of research articles where already the people have already cited those earlier paper as well. So we need to focus more on this recent paper, recent literatures, and then we read those paper and then do a summary of all of those things, and then we highlight that part in our introduction part. Okay, so once as we progress, okay, writing this introduction part, so we give the, let us say as per the chronologically we can put those particular citations of a journal of that particular research paper into your introduction part. So once you are done that, okay, and it has to be like, it has a particular structure we need to follow that I'm going to tell you later on. And then in that, once you do the introduction part, you have written all this sufficient amount of literature survey into introduction part. Then the last paragraph, which is very important, that what is you are and what you understood from this particular research articles. Okay, what is the motivation you got from this research article? That is a very important part. And what is the result you have expected from your work? So that one paragraph has to be there in your introduction part. Okay, so this is the way the introduction part has to be written. Okay, as you know, it takes a longer time when you are writing your first paper. Okay, it has to go to many revisions, because when I was writing my first paper, I almost done like more than 20 revisions, and I took almost 6 months to publish my paper after getting my result. So for that purpose, this revision has to be done extensively, so that then only, because as you know, our guide is going to check all our paper what you have written in a research article. So that revision has to be done, and then once it is done, then we are ready for publication. So these are the small things which we have to be highlight in your introduction part. Okay, and then you always give the follow all this thing and do a lot of work. Okay, research, that literature survey, the background information has to be more and more extensively. You read more and more paper and get more and more citation for your work. Okay, that will actually, you will understand that what is result, what is the research has already been done in the previous, and how, in which direction you are going, what are the different kind of areas where I can focus. Okay, where are the people are not work, so that you can work in that particular area. So that has to be, everything has to be come in your introduction part. Okay, and please, from wherever you get all this information you are writing in your introduction part or in your paper, so always give credibility to that particular team or person, because you are citing a particular paper of that person. So that has to be always mentioned over there. Okay, so once you do that, then it gives the credibility or the citation to that particular scientist or a professor about what is you are referring for your research work. Okay, so and this is also improve this whenever we write our research grants also. So we will generally do all these things. Okay, so it is important for us whenever we write such kind of a thing, research paper or research grants. So these are the things we need to always follow. Then the creativity. Okay, the creativity is also very important part of writing your research paper, because how you are giving a justification, okay, to your work. Okay, what is that particular thing you are going to add in your paper? Because I have read many paper, I always read many paper over there. Okay, even the work is not that good, okay, or the result are not that outstanding, but the way people are writing the paper is a very creatively, how they highlight their particular work in any way, whether they are going to write in a very extensive way and they explain the thing very in depth. Okay, so that is how the credibility that work get, even though the work is not that good, but the credibility get because of the writing thing, how you are judging that particular result. Okay, how you are explaining to a layman to understand your work. So that is the creativity you have to create in the your paper. So while writing your paper, you always, maybe if it is a one result, so at least you should write for 1 or 2 paragraphs for that particular result, so that people will understand, yes, you are thinking a very different point of view to judge this your result. Okay, so these are the creative ways we need to follow always whenever we talk about the research paper. Okay, then what are the basic things we need to follow? Okay, as I'm mentioning, so the thought process, in which way you think about a particular work. Okay, so what are those results are published, how your results are very different than them. Okay, how you are going to interpret your result. Okay, how you are judging that particular work. Okay, so that thought process has to be always follow while we write our paper. Okay, then comes your structure. Okay, the structure is what generally the journal having. Okay, so you follow that particular structure, okay, starting from the title, the affiliation, then you abstract, then comes your introduction, then materials and method, or maybe experimental section you can put over there. Okay, so these are the terminology we generally follow in every paper. Then comes is your result and discussion part. Okay, in some of the journals you will see the result are mentioned first and then discussion has been done later. Okay, or you can simply put result and discussion in the same point. Okay, and then you explain, you just put your result, okay, and then interpret that result and give a judgment that yes, this is a work what people have earlier done and how you are doing in a different way, and what are the result you got, how you are explaining that result, okay, in a many different point of view, and then you put it a right judgment for that particular result. Okay, so this is how the structure will be going to happen in your particular paper. The style you need to follow, okay, as per the journal requirement. Okay, we need to follow those particular keywords, okay, the good grammar, okay, as well as the structure as per the journal. Suppose if you have decided a journal, so initially maybe you can just write very simple way, but once you decide the journal, then you go for it the citing those particular your references in a particular manner, okay, later. So for that purpose, when you are writing those references, okay, you better we generally follow a different software like the EndNote. Okay, you can go, use the EndNote, you can use a Mendeley software. These are very good software available to arrange those references as per the journal requirement. Okay, the EndNote, which is very important, because in EndNote if you see there are many, like more than 5,000 journals are already there. So you just decide that which journal you are going to publish, okay, and you put all your data over there, put all your references in a word and select the journal. As per the journal requirement, these references will be arranged, you know, your paper. So that's a very good one, very good software we need to use EndNote for. And it's depending on the journal. See, whatever the journals is there, you just have to select the journal and then click on it. Then automatically those references will be get arranged as per the your format of a journal. Okay, so that's a very good software we generally always use while arranging, because arranging these references is also a very tedious job. Okay, so that EndNote makes us very simple way. Okay, then how you plan your research. Okay, so that particular thing which I already discussed. Okay, then we find out the journal. Okay, this is a journal now you are expecting to publish. Okay, so that is also a very important thing. See, when you are searching for a journal, there are many journals are available there. So the very good thing is that whenever you find a journal, okay, always go through the publisher. Who is the publisher of that particular journal? What is the impact factor of that journal? Okay, what quality of papers are published in that particular journal? Then the editor, who is the editor of that journal, who are the editorial board members of that journal. Okay, all that information you should first find out about that journal, and then you go and choose that journal. Okay, but as you know that your work, that where you are going to publish it. Okay, so accordingly you choose that particular journal and do the study of that journal. Okay, find out the entire information about impact factor, because that's very important, that the impact factor plays a very important role when you publish a paper. Okay, then again the things are very get complicated when you decide the authorship. Okay, who is going to be a first author, who is going to be a second author, okay, who is going to be a corresponding author. Okay, so all that decision has been can be done in consultation with our guide. Okay, and then you put that authorship, authors, sequence of authors. Okay, and who is a actually help in your work, so definitely you give that authorship to that person as well. Okay, and then you put who is a contributor for your work, what is the funding you got from which organization. Okay, acknowledge those persons. Okay, whoever has helped you in any kind of work, so please acknowledge whenever you write those papers. So these are the very small things we generally forget. Okay, so please do that. Okay, and then plan accordingly your paper. Okay. So this is generally which we call it as a hourglass model. okay, which is generally used, or it is also called as a king model while writing this paper. Okay, it's a very simple. The title we have, the abstract title, then affiliation, the abstract, the introduction, and the main body. Okay, where we generally write all our experimental. Okay, so whenever we write experimental work, okay, so we always write about the what experimental we have follow. Okay, what are the chemicals we have used over there. Okay, which company from that chemical you have purchased from it. Okay, or any software you have purchased to do analysis of your work. So everything has to be mentioned in your experimental part. Okay, so entire thing has to be come over there. So if you are use any characterization techniques, okay, let us say maybe the XRD, the TM, the SEM, okay, so you put all the details of that particular model, okay, the model of that particular characterization technique. Okay, if you use ACM, so what is a model, okay, which company is from, so all that detail has to be mentioned in your experimental part. And then comes is your resultant discussion. Okay, so that resultant discussion should also come in this body part. Okay, or you can just put a result over there and then you put it a discussion part. Okay, as you know, when you are writing a result, okay, as we know that how result we have got it from this particular work. Okay, so that we can easily explain it, but the discussion part is a very important when you are explaining your result. So now let us say you have a particular thing, you got a particular result, you do a characterization of that, you put a particular graph for it, okay, or maybe a figure of something else, okay, or you put your data in a tabulated form, okay. So when you are discussing this, your results, that's very important, how you are discussing the result you are discussed, but actually how you are going to give a judgment to your result. So that come in your discussion part. And then you are discussing one by one about your results, how you got that particular result and what is the supporting background for that uh, this work, okay, how it is better than the previous work. Okay, so you put that references and then you can mention about that how it has been come over there. So you can have a mathematical expression over there to discuss about or give a judgment to your result. So entire thing has to be mentioned in your discussion part. Okay, and then comes your references part, which is we generally follow. Okay, so you can see think over if you remember this thing, okay, so that makes us very easy when we are writing a research paper. So like this is a hourglass model, which we call as introduction, body, and the discussion. And this title, abstract, introduction, references, all this comes as we call it as a king model. Okay, so this king because we generally use in our chess. Okay, so once you remember all these things, okay, it's easy for us to write a research paper. Then when you once you write all these things, so we are organizing the entire thing over there, because the organizing also a very tedious job over there. Okay, so once you are writing any kind of a thing in your research paper, so you always ask a question for yourself whether I'm writing this correct or not. Okay, so that has to be there. Okay, so once you read your title, your abstract, your introduction part, okay, so you should always go through it one by one, read it carefully, okay, make those changes, and then write it very nicely in your own language, and it has to be grammatically perfect as well. Okay, so all the thing has to be there in your when you are organizing a particular your paper. So that is how the things actually works over there. Okay, so the planning stage, in the planning stage mean what actually you are going to do it. Okay, what are the data you are going to incorporate into this particular work. Okay, what is your target journal, okay, that you decide. Okay, and accordingly you frame your work. Okay, then you prepare your first draft. Okay, and then you do all this checklist of this. Yes, this is the thing of what I have done yet. So that first draft will be ready. Okay, then you just give it to your guide or maybe your seniors, and then ask them to go through it. Then they will give you comments on it, then you again improve it. Okay, then you will create a second draft, then you share it with all your co-authors. Okay, and then this is how this process start actually to make your research paper very stronger and stronger. Okay, let it be, see, if you many such a revision is going to happen, it's really good for you, because your paper is going more and more stronger, so that when you are going to publish it or you are sending for a journal, so you'll not have much what you call as comments on it. Okay, so that it is going to be accepted very soon. So you avoid those kind. That's why this draft has to be prepared. Okay, it has to get reviewed by many people. Okay, even you can just show it to the person who is not in your research area. At least he will have a different thinking about is this work, so you can give some suggestions over there. So this is how you organize your paper and then get it drafted many times, okay, and make it more and more sound paper, so that it, when you publish it or send it for a journal, so definitely it should get published very fast. Okay, so this is how this things is going to, I know it takes a longer time, but we have to go through all these steps so that we can publish a very good paper. Okay, then once you prepare this draft, okay, so there's a very simple structure we need to follow. Okay, so these are the sections what we have discussed, like introduction, the methods, the result, the table, figures, the discussion and references. Okay, these are the questions we need to ask ourselves. Why did introduction, why did you start? Okay, and when you have started all these things, whether I'm going in a wrong right direction or not. Okay, then the purpose of this, okay, summarize all these things as I already mentioned. Whenever we read any kind of research paper, always do a summary of it. Okay, just make an Excel sheet over there, put your first column, you can just put it name of that particular journal, okay, or the title of your research paper, then journal, then the entire citation information over there and the summary of that particular thing. Okay, so you can do in that way so that you will have that idea about from where you take all this information. Okay, so that is the first thing you need to do is, okay, so introduction part, it should be hardly a 1 page or maybe 1.5 page, that's sufficient. Then methods. What did you do? Okay, what actually you do for this? Okay, what is are the thing how this process has started? Okay, in the experimental part you just mentioned about all these things. So why you choose this particular technique for this? Okay, what are the different parameters you are highlighting over there? Okay, all that enough details you need to provide over there. So that methods, maybe you can have 1 or 2 page actually, not more than that, depending on the work. Okay, sometimes it may be a, we can have half page as well, because we don't mention in more detail about that things, because we are going to mention again in a discussion part. So no need to mention, only just highlight that particular experimentation or the particular parameters which you are got it, or maybe through a particular theoretical work. So you just mention over there, materials and methods part and the experimental part over there. Then the result and discussion part, which is a very important result, which you are going to show over here. Okay, what did you find from your work? Okay, what are the analysis you have done for to explain that particular result? So what result you got? Okay, that you are going to discuss in this result part. So it has to be again 2-3 pages. Okay, it varies from journal to journal as well, or as well as it also varies from your work research area. So depending on that, so it is just a generalized thing over there. Then we need to mention about the tables and figures over there. Okay, that is very important part. Okay, tables, the figures, okay, which you put over there, or any information you want to give over there in a tabulated form or anything else, definitely you should provide, table or figures. Okay, then they clarify those results, whatever you want to explain over there. Okay, put a proper title to that particular figure. Okay, mention about that title, what you really want to explain about that particular table or figure. Okay, or any kind of a thing which you are putting over there. Okay, so that has to mention over, and then comes is your discussion part where you are interpreting the entire your work. Okay, and then the very important part is references. Okay, so always the references should be like in general case, okay, it should be almost like 20 to 35 references we should always provide. So these are basic structure. When you create a draft, okay, so draft has to be almost go like more than 15 pages. Okay, but when it get published, so it comes somewhere around 5 to 6 pages. Okay, but because the journal decide that what is the size has to be there to publish a particular research article. Okay, so this is how the structure has to be created for our paper, and that we need to highlight over there. Okay, so the entire thing has to end. You should always ask these questions to yourself when you are writing this each and every part of your research paper. Okay, the introduction, what you are writing, the abstract, what you are writing, the materials and methods, what you are writing over there. So put the entire details over there. Okay, the result, what you are putting, the tables and figures, that has to be very clear. Okay, with the proper title to that table and figure. Okay, with all the numbering what you are putting over there. So everything has to be clearly mentioned in your table itself. So sometimes what about people are not going to read the entire of your article, but from your table and figures, okay, or the any kind of a things what you are putting over there, okay. So people can understand just by seeing that particular figure or the table that yes, this is the way you have done this work. Okay, so it's very easy for them to understand what you want to say in your research paper instead of going and reading the entire paper. Okay, so this is a basic draft has to be created in this way. Okay, then once you've done this, then we go for to deciding a particular journal. Okay, there are many such journals are over there. Depending on our research area, we go and identify 2-3 journals which are very important. Okay, or maybe let us say more journals you are expecting over there. Okay, so you just find out those journals. Okay, and accordingly, then once you decided yes, this is a particular journal which is a actually having a scope to publish my work. Okay, and then you prepare your this draft paper. Okay, what you have done the draft paper, then you can put it into a journal format. Okay, so you follow all that guidelines for author. Okay, always read the guidelines for author from that particular journal and follow those guidelines so that you will not have a rejection at first instance. So what happens, see, the first instance is like when you are sending your paper for a publication. Okay, the editor itself read your paper, and if it is not in a actual format of that journal, okay, so he immediately reject it. So to avoid all these things, so read all these guidelines for the author, and then you prepare your paper. Okay, so this is how the consider the impact factor which I already mentioned, the citation index of the journal, which are very important part over there. Okay, the impact factor which is generally calculated from last 2 years of citations. Okay, and how many number of papers are published in that particular journal. On that basis, this impact factor has been calculated. Okay, then the citation index, that how many citations for that particular journals. Okay, or that particular paper which are published in a particular journal every year. Okay, according to the citation index of that particular journal, it increases. So on that basis, this impact factor citation index which we calculate. So if you use like directly from a journal website or maybe a Web of Science, okay, or maybe a Thomson Reuters, they generally every year they identify this impact factor and citation index of the journals. Okay, then the weightage of that particular journal, the prestige of that particular journal, that we get it from the editor as well as the editorial board members. Okay, and the citations, the impact factor of that particular journal. Okay, so all these things we have to be identified. Okay, and then you identify and read the journal. Okay, what extent they are expecting to publish in that particular thing. So what are the topics they are covering? Okay, so all that things you need to identify, and then you decide for a particular journal. Okay, so this is how once you've done this all these things, so there are very less chances for your journal, your paper to get rejected uh, at a first instance. Okay, so avoid those kind of thing and then do a lot of work on it very extensively. Then uniformly you need to work on it. Okay, so this manuscript requirement. Okay, so what is a generally when you are writing your draft, okay, so it has basically when you write it, it should be in a double spacing. Okay, which is always we use in a A4 paper. Okay, so where we carry all this, so they have given a particular all this information, or when you read this guide for authorship, so entire thing will be mentioned over there. Okay, so that has to be clearly read and incorporate it into your manuscript. Okay, so these are the basic guidelines we need to identify over there. Then what is exactly you are going to put it over there. Okay, so depending on your study, okay, so that you put all your information, the data you have collected. Okay, so put the data, enter data over there. Okay, what are the relevant literatures are there. Okay, what is the information you got it from a different materials, so you put it over there. Okay, database management systems are there, from there you got some data over there, so put all that entire informations. So all these are actually the examples of contribution which we can incorporate into our research paper. So not all this thing comes in like, suppose if I am from engineering background, okay, I have to always explain about my result, okay, by doing a characterization of a particular work, and then only I can cite over there all these entire things over there. But if you are working for management or maybe architecture or some other area, then you have some database system over there, so you put that data. So whatever the analysis you are done through a survey, okay, so do that analysis and put it in a graphical format or in a tabulated format, and put it in your research paper. So this is how there are different ways we need to follow all the time to fulfill the need of a particular journal. Okay. So yeah, so this is a order we need to follow, which will like so abstract very effectively. We need to do the introduction part, we need to write very extensively by considering the previous literatures. Okay, then describe very clearly all these materials and method, the experimental part in detail with a proper figure, okay, of that particular instrument which you are using. Okay, so all that thing has to become there. Okay, then result and discussion part. Okay, so whenever we write this good abstract, okay, so it should give the entire information which I earlier mentioned. Okay, the objective, what actually you thought for your work, that has to come over there. Okay, what is the background the previous work has done over there, so that has to become over there. Then the entire thing is like the expected result from there, so whole thing has to be comes in your abstract part. So well, if anybody read your article, he will definitely going to understand that what is actually your work and what you have achieved from this particular work. So that has to be very clearly mentioned in your abstract itself. Okay, so these are like, see, this is some example given over here. Okay, so it is to determine whether the specialist nurse in intervention improves the outcome of in a patients with a chronic heart failure. Okay, so she has mentioned entirely about this is the randomized control trial. Okay, setting acute medical admission unit in a teaching hospital. Okay, the participants, how many participants he or she choose to give the judgment to this particular work. Okay, what is the outcome he or she has got. Okay, what is the result she has got. Okay, and the conclusion. The entire thing means like it's like a very short summary of your paper. Okay, entire paper that should entirely highlighted into your abstract. So that abstract has to be give an entire overview of your entire paper. Okay, so that is how it is called as a good abstract. Nowadays, some of the journal, they are also asking for a graphical abstract. Okay, they need to give any particular figure or maybe a something table or something like that. You can put it in a abstract as well. That is called as a graphical abstract. Okay, and then you can explain in a very simple way about that particular work. Okay, the introduction part, which I already mentioned. Okay, what we know means from earlier work, what you understood and where you are going. Okay, what we don't know. Okay, what we don't know means that is a problem we are going to solve now. Okay, and paragraph shows us why we did this. Okay, so that has to say what we know means the previous work, so that you highlight. Then what we don't know, so what people have already done and which direction we are going right now. So all that thing has to be mentioned in your introduction part, and why we did this study. Okay, what is a thing which I thought that this is going to be a very important for this my research. Okay, which I'm going to highlight over here. So the last paragraph where you should always mention about the what is the expected outcome you have achieved, okay, or what result you got to give a judgment for this particular work, okay, or how you are judging the previous work, okay, by doing your work and give a justification to this work that yes, this is a work which I did and it is a more better compared to the previous work, or I have improved in a this way, okay, the scope of improvement which you need to show over there. So that has to be clearly mentioned in this introduction part over there. Okay, so these are the all things which we are going to put it over there. Okay, so what are the trials you are done for this, so that parameters are there, the variables you are using over there. So this is how the scope of your reporting should be there when you are organizing your introduction part and other things. Okay, then comes is your materials and methods, which I already mentioned to you, where you can put like if there are something where you need to have ethical approval. Okay, like suppose in biotech or in biomedical, where we are generally work on many different, we are working on some different kind of viruses and other things. Okay, so where you require a particular ethical approval for that. Okay, so that has to be done clearly prior to working on that particular problem. Okay, so that ethical committee which is always there in your university, where they generally identify whether not just for biotech but any other thing which is have some ethical issues over there. Okay, so definitely you should follow those things. Okay, then study design. Okay, what is the study you are going to highlight in your materials and methods. Okay, what is the sample size are there, how you optimize those things, how you are going to justify those particular parameters which you have chosen over there, what are the variables you have used. So entire thing has to be over there. Okay, if it is a participants are there, then how you are generated this data. Okay, how you did the survey, or you have interviewed a particular person. Okay, so that has to be, so how many participants you are used, or maybe you have interviewed or sent that survey form to them and got this data. Okay, not let us say if I choose some 200 participants for my work and I have given this particular form to them and ask them to fill this form. Not everybody will give a genuine opinion about that particular work. That's why whenever we do any kind of a seminar or any kind of a workshop, so at the end we generally uh, go for a feedback system where we want to know that what is the feedback people have give for this particular seminar or maybe some workshop, so that next time we are going to improve it. But when you look at that particular feedback, okay, not many people will give you genuine feedback over there. Okay, so because I don't know what people think about that, but the feedback is a very important part over there. So on that basis you come up with the your research for this, how many participants you have used for which category. Okay, what category you are going to uh, identify for this particular work. Okay, and then you work on it. So that participant population of how many people you have considered over there, what are those interventions are there. Let us say maybe you have chosen 200 participants for to judge this work, but that is not sufficient over there. So how we are going to work more effectively on that, in which different areas, that has to be mentioned over there. What are, if there are some clinical assessment required for your work, so definitely you should go over there and do that. And if it is some work which is related to a statistical basis, so you do that particular statistical analysis, okay, the experimental way and everything. So that entire thing has to be clearly mentioned in your materials and methods. Let us say this is one of the example over here, considering the previous problem. Okay, what we discussed earlier. So in that, you always mention about, see, let us say this is a particular work over here. Okay, so in that, now you need to methods which you are putting over there. So you just put about the patient. So the patient which is suffering from some of the problem. Okay, so and how this disease or a particular problem has started in which year. So that according to this, then selection criteria, on what basis you are going to select those particular participants or patients to judge your work. Then treatment assignment, how you are going to treat them. Okay, so what are the parameters you have selected for them. Okay, how we are going to evaluate the particular patients. So what are those parameters you are considering over there. And then once you collected all the data, then how you do this analysis, statistical analysis for this. So that entire thing has to be clearly mentioned when you are writing these materials and methods. Then comes is your result and discussion, which is again a very important part, where you are giving a writing your own result, what you are expected from this entire work. Okay, so in result, what are the things you are going to incorporate? Okay, what so when you see this materials and method, so it is in line with your this materials and method, there is a result which you are mentioning over here. Okay, so you should identify why you identified this particular amount, particular age group of patients. Okay, what is your selection criteria over there? Okay, so you should mention in your result about all these things. So whatever methods you have written, so that has to be judged by your result. Okay, so whatever analysis you are done, you are interpreting through your tabulated form or in a graphical manner. So you put all over there and then write those results over the test. You have chosen this particular age group of people, and from that you achieve this particular result from it. Okay, so that has to be clearly mentioned. So the result you need to mention very clearly over there. Then on the result, we need to follow all this. Yes, describe the study of a sample. Okay, describe that particular what you have done. What are the parameters you have chosen over there? Okay, why did you study all these parameters? Okay, so what when you do chosen this parameter, what are the variables you have chosen over there? Okay, all these things have to be mentioned over there. Then the paragraph where you have univariate analysis. Okay, and so all that thing you have to mention. Okay, how many participants? Okay, depending on the work to work. This is just one example. Okay, but depending on your work, whether it's experimental work or whether it's a kind of analysis work, whether it's kind of a survey work, so accordingly this result and materials and method are going to change. So then bivariate analysis, what are those variables are there? Okay, how you find out those particular relationship with that, and what are the result you are expected or achieved from this particular work. Okay, so either you compare one variable, or you compare two variable, or you compare the multiple variables. Okay, and then you read about all this particular thing and write it down in the result part. Okay, so this is how it works like this result. So it describes about the participants. Okay, what are how many participants were there? Okay, so explain about that particular thing. Okay, then about the bivariate, how you are comparing those particular variables over there. Okay, then bivariate analysis, how you did this particular analysis, put it in a graphical manner. Okay, and final paragraph describe the multivariate, how you judging all these particular variables over there. So that thing should be come in your result part. Then your figures and tables, where generally in any research paper, we generally don't have much more, no more than 6 tables or figures should be there. Okay, it's a, or maybe it can be also vary from journal to journal. Okay, for either you use maybe a combination of tables and figures as well. Okay, so that, but that should not go more than 6 in total. Okay, and put most of the findings over there, because you have to judge your work. So whatever the findings you got it from your research, so always put it over there and work on it. Put some graph figures. Okay, that's very important. Put all the symbols, the abbreviations you are putting over there. Okay, the line types, the bars. Okay, bar chart you can put it over there. Okay, pie chart you can put it over there. Okay, all this thing has to be clearly mentioned as in the form of graphs and figures. Okay, so that you are giving more and more judgment to your work. So how you give a lot of information. Okay, that makes your work is going more and more stronger. Okay, but in some cases what happened, due to the limitation of this journals, okay, as I mentioned earlier, so it has only 5 or 6 tables over there, but you want to support that this work in a more way, so they generally ask you to put supplementary information. Okay, in supplementary information, then you can add that extra result over there and judge, because due to the journal requirement, they have like particularly after publication, it is maybe 5 to 6 pages. Okay, so they don't want to violate their norms over there. So in that case, we need to give a supporting information. So in that supporting information, you can add this extra work over there, and then you can put it into a supporting form. So these are the things which you have to be very careful. So the graph looks like this. You can put it over there with a proper caption for that graph. Okay, or a table or a figure. It has to mention with a proper tags over there. Okay, so always graphs with all these names, graph, the axis titles. Okay, the whatever the result you got accordingly, so you can just mention about the what are the changes you have expected from this different work. So you should always highlight in your graphs over there. The tables, okay, which is a very good way of showing the things, your results and other things, okay, and compare with the other result. So that table with a lot of such a many columns and variables you can show over there. Okay, so these are one of the example over here. I can show you these are the variables. Okay, and these are the two parameters they have choose over there. This is the placebo group and the deutericogen alpha activated group. Okay, so what are the changes they have found? These are the variables they have. What are the number of patients they have choose to study this particular one. Okay, so this is a way we need to highlight those tables and figures in our paper. And this is a very important part is a discussion where you need to judge the entire work. Okay, whatever the result you got and how you are going to judge or discuss your result according to the previous work. Okay, so what did this study show? Okay, what you want to highlight over there? Okay, what are the aim you have expected from this? Okay, so that has to be highlighted over there. What are the strength of your work? Okay, what are the weaknesses of a particular method which is used earlier? Okay, and what is the strength of your work? So you highlight those part in a discussion. Okay, discuss how the results support the current literature. Okay, okay, and you can give a judgment to that. So that's why we need to again add references over there while writing the discussion as well. Then you discuss, reiterate very nicely, okay, explain and give the judgment justification to your work, okay, whatever you are showing in your paper, and work accordingly. So this is a very important part, the result and discussion. Whenever you write result and discussion, it is very important to mention about your work. Okay, and you give a justification, the judgment of each and everything what you got from your work. Okay, what are the result you got, so you always work on it. So this is a part very discussion, result and discussion part is very important while writing this paper, because you need to explain each and everything and give a judgment to it while supporting the previous literatures or previous research papers. Then is the finishing up your paper. Okay, write a very short and snappy title initially, then you can later on you can change it. References you put it over there, that's very important part over there. Then maximize the value of peer review process. The peer review process means you review it many times. Okay, you ask your colleagues, seniors to review it and then work accordingly. Okay, and then you make your paper very strongly, okay, with the proper judgments and other thing. So once it is done, then you go for a finding out the journal, or you already identify your journals, so don't worry about that. Only you need to put in a proper journal format and then you are ready to send it for a journal. Okay, so this is how the paper is going to be work. Okay, now see, I mentioned about the way how we put a title to our journal. Okay, depending on the, like, let us say there are many dependent and independent variables may be there. Okay, or you are working on a many particular variable which is actually very important, which we need to highlight, and how that particular variable which is going to affect in your work, so that you particularly highlight in your title over there. Okay, so that if you are doing some kind of study, or then you can put a study of so and so things by considering these parameters. Okay, so you can highlight all this thing, or you can put a particular uh, uh, understanding of your work and write it as your title. Okay, so this is actually we want to do very systematic way once you write it down your paper. Okay, so these are the some of the highlights are there, like the effect of asthma on linear growth of a children, asthma and linear growth in children. Okay, final height attainment of a asthmatic. So where you are actually focusing, what kind of a variable you are focusing over there, so that has to be highlighted, and how you are the variables which you are using, So what are the parameters you have used? What are the variable which you are going to understand? So that has to be get highlighted in your title. Okay. So these are the not actually the, it should not be a question kind of thing. Okay. It has to be very proper way of understanding. Yes, this is a particular study you are doing over there. Okay. To understand this work. So the title has to be very precise and very simple to understand any length. And then the references, absolutely the references are very important part, okay, which you can use it for EndNote software and put all your references according to the journal requirement. Okay, so you can put it those references and put it over there. Okay, so include only the most important, okay, most rigorous and most recent literature. Okay, so let us consider my last 5 to 10 years, or maybe nowadays some of the research which are growing from the last 5 years very extensively. So you can just choose all these things over there. Okay, and always quote those published journal articles in your paper. That's very important. Okay, never quote the second hand one. Okay, the very old one. Okay, and it has almost like 20 to 35 references. You should always put in your references. Okay, because some of the work might be like get repeated one, so you should avoid those kind of thing. Okay, and at least you should have like more than 20 research papers cited to give a judgment to your research article. Okay, then so once you done this, okay, then you are sending, once your paper is ready as per the journal requirement, now you are sending to the editor. So once you send it to the editor, so editor will check as per the journal requirement is there, he will check about the title and other things, and then it will go for a review. Okay, so that we generally call as a blind review is there. Okay, sometimes some journal will ask you to send the list of reviewers as well, which are not in your acquaintances. Okay, or sometimes the journal itself or the editor itself decide that where to send the journal as per the research area, and then they will, that will be called generally called as blind review, and it get reviewed by a particular expert in your research area. Okay, so he may be situated anywhere in the world. Okay, so he's going to, that's really important for us, so that see our paper which is reviewed by renowned people, and they gave us a comment on our paper, and then so see, once you get the reviewers comment, okay, about your work, then you need to respond to reviewers about the particular work, about your work. So whatever the question they have, so you need to respond in a proper way that yes, you have done this particular work, you are judging this work in this way. Okay, or they ask you to make some more work on it, so definitely you should incorporate their comments and do the extra work and give the judgment to your work. Okay, so this is how you need to respond to the comments to the all your reviewers. Okay, so a few simple rules for the effective writing. Okay, I already mentioned about all things. Always use this, do not use any vague comments out there. Okay, a very good and concrete writing should be there. Okay, then use active voice wherever possible. Okay, subject to performing a verb. Okay, so active uh, voice we generally follow while writing the papers. Then the examples, okay, avoid overusing same thing again and again. Okay, do not do all these things. Make it corrections all the time, make it more better. Okay, and then avoid confusion. Okay, because what will happens, we generally when we are writing, we always give different statements over there, so that should not be get overlap with each other. Okay, so make it very correctly all those statements over there and work accordingly for your paper. So this is a way actually the paper writing works very effectively. So these are very simple rules we need to follow. Okay, the grammatical, avoid the grammatical mistakes. Okay, avoid the plagiarism, which is very important. Okay, it should not be copied from somewhere else. It is your own work, and you need to write in your own language with a proper grammar. Okay, so these are the things which you need to always remember. Okay, and avoid the plagiarism always. Okay, so follow all these things, place the modifier whenever you required. Okay, the punctuations and other things. Okay, where you required, and all this. So once you do all these things, so definitely your paper is going to 101% going to publish, any journal. Okay. And then once you send a reviewer comments, then after a few days you will receive a very important good news is that finally my paper got published, and this is the thrill of getting accepted our paper. So once you get your first paper accepted in a very good journal, that is your big achievement. And then you understand this how much time it takes to publish a one research paper. Okay, but once it takes a longer time to publish a first paper, the next paper you will not have much time. Okay, you will not take much time to publish your work later on. So this is a achievement we get once you publish our first paper. So remember all these things and work accordingly. And always remember that whatever you are going to write in your papers, be very concise, very precise. Okay, give judgment to your work and work upon it. Okay, so and once you get that paper published, or you can see maybe online copy or maybe a hard copy, that's a very big achievement for us, for any of the researchers. Okay, that are published, and the next achievement is to get cited our paper many times. Okay, that is another big achievement. Okay, not publishing is a part of our research, but getting citation is a very important part, that people are going to know that you are working in the field. So citations are very important for our paper. If you publish in a year one paper, but it should be a good paper so that people can cite it years and years. Okay, so this is how the research writing works. Okay, and thank you very much for your understanding and listening to me. So if you have any questions, so please, I'm open for questions now.
Sir, thank you so much for an informative session and sharing your knowledge with us. Okay, so I'm declaring that the session is open for the discussion. Dear participants, if you have any query, then you can raise your hand. I will give command for your mic. Okay, I will give access to your mic. So if you have query, you can raise your hand. I think Nishita ma'am is here. Ma'am, you can ask your question now. Nishita ma'am. Nishita ma'am, are you there? Okay. So next is Arun Kumar. Arun Kumar Singh. Sir, you can ask your question.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. How to identify a good journal in management domain?
Sir, it's depending on the work. Okay, so let us say maybe you are working on a particular work. Okay, or you are doing something like, let us say, do some analysis of a, let us say maybe now in this COVID situation. Okay, how this COVID situation has affected the entire world. Okay, and in that, if you choose any of this industry that which is affected, that is your research topic. So accordingly, when you are choosing a particular journal, so you first see there are, when you are identifying your research, there are few keywords about your research. So on that basis of a keywords, you identify a journal. Okay, and then
Okay.
once you identify the journal, let us say it's not a one journal, you identify 3 or 4 journals, and then identify their information. Okay, the entire information about the impact factor and other things, the editorial board members and other things, and then you find out that whether your work is going to suitable for this journal or not. Okay, so the keyword which makes a very important part of your research. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Any other?
Sir? Thank you, Arun Kumar sir. Yes, any other question
Thank you.
from audience? You can raise your hand. I think Deepali is here. Okay, Deepali ma'am is here. Yes, Deepali ma'am, you can ask your question now. Deepali ma'am, are you there?
Good afternoon, sir. आवाज आ रही है? Am I
Yes,
audible?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible. Yeah.
Sir, I have a little confusion regarding the qualitative and quantitative research. My department of work is tourism, and I wanted to ask whether a descriptive research can be a quantitative one.
See, ma'am, like when you say about a descriptive research, okay? So when you say about a descriptive research where you require always a quantity, okay? Because without quantity, you cannot describe that particular work. Okay. Then,
So we can say
yes,
that the descriptive research can be quantitative in nature, right?
yes. But see, because you need to give a judgment to this particular research area, you require a lot more and more quantity over there. Okay. And then only you are going to describe that particular work. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deepali ma'am. Yes, we have a next question from Nasir sir. Okay, Nasir sir, you can ask your question. Nasir sir. Yeah. Okay. Yes, another question is from Lokeshwari ma'am. Ma'am, you can ask your question now. Yeah. Okay. Professor Yas Kaji sir, you can ask your question.
Yeah. So actually, it is not my question, but it's a value addition to the things, because we as a faculty members, when we want to contribute to our institute in terms of quality initiatives towards NAC in criteria number 3, where when we are going to publish paper, so our paper should be published in UGC care list.
Yes, sir.
And second thing is that there should be uniform affiliation for our institute, because when we publish the paper, we mention Dr. D.Y. Patil School of Engineering. Likewise, all the participants should note that your paper should not be published in the publishers Gali Mohalla kind of things, but it should be in the UGC care list. And secondly, you should have uniform affiliation to every college. So this then this will be counted towards NAC criteria 3. This is just I want to add in this. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you, Riyaz sir. Thank you so
Hello.
much. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Lokeshwari ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can you audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. You're
Sir,
audible.
when you write, yes, sir. Sir, when you write the normal journals, which software tool you can use, sir? The best software tools.
See, ma'am, actually, when we are writing any kind of a research paper, we generally use Word, okay? But only
Okay.
for when you are citing the articles, okay, the references, okay?
Okay.
So for citation purpose, we generally use either Mendeley or EndNote, okay? I generally prefer EndNote, okay?
Okay.
Because while citing those things, it will arrange those references for the your journal requirement.
Sir, in reference way styles are chosen, sir. Chicago font like that.
No.
Chicago
See,
sir.
yeah, Chicago is there, okay?
Yeah.
Cambridge.
Which one is the best way, sir?
No, it's depending on journal, man. Okay, which is generally see the APA style is generally follow. Okay, APA style, Cambridge style.
Oh, okay.
These are
Okay.
commonly used, but whenever you choose any kind of a journal, okay, so
Yes.
depending on journal, this style get changed. Okay.
Yeah, sir. Another one question, sir. How to choose the title, sir, in management departments?
Ma'am, that's why I told you that once you write your paper, okay,
Yes.
you
Okay.
need to really highlight that where so what are your variables are there and what are the parameters you are going to choose. Okay. And which parameter or which variable you are highlighting this particular research paper. So accordingly, you choose your title.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So that you should mention all your parameters as well as the variables over there. That this is the way you are going to focusing on this particular work.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
There is one more addition I want to do for everyone is that whenever we choose any kind of a journal, so always look for whether it is UGC care listed. Okay, that is the first thing you need to do. And the second thing is you always try to publish in SCI journals. Okay, Scopus index journals. That is a very important part because the Scopus index journals are highly cited. always. Okay. Yeah.
Sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, one more question is there, sir. Sir,
Yes.
in UGC, there is the general sir title is provided, na, sir. We can research for the particular title also.
Yeah. But better to go for UGC care list first and then find it
Okay,
out.
sir.
It is
Yeah,
UGC
okay,
care
sir.
list. Because just
Okay,
by
sir.
searching it, we will never know that whether it is UGC care listed or not.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Lokeshwari ma'am. Yes, I'm taking a final question from Mayank sir. Sir, you can ask your question. Mayank, Mr. Mayank, are you there?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. You're audible, ma'am. Yeah.
Madam, no more questions is there, madam. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, sir. Mr. Faraz Bagwan. Yeah. Faraz Bagwan. Yeah, okay. Yes, I think one more question from Irfan Khan Pathan. Okay. Sir, you can ask your question.
A question regarding there is any plagiarism checker online available freely.
Sir, actually the freely it is available, but it is not reliable, sir, actually. Because what generally it takes, no, in a freely available software, whatever are there, like Grammarly or some other, they generally don't find out the plagiarism. Okay, they only check the your grammar and other things. Okay, so I don't recommend to go for it. You better always use a Turnitin for that purpose, or the Orkund is there as well. Okay, and there's one more software which is launched by the UGC in on the Inflibnet website. That is, I think, Orkund only. So you can just refer those things, okay, instead of going for free softwares. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for nice interaction with the audience. Dear participants, I have posted a feedback link in the chat box of the current meeting. You are requested to fill out the form. The link will be deactivated after 1 p.m. today. Okay. Here, one important notice to all of you. Our afternoon session is started from 3 p.m. onwards. Okay, so you can join the meeting prior 10 minutes of the scheduled time. The meeting link will be same. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for
Thank you,
giving me this
Riyaz Kazi,
opportunity.
sir, Pallavi, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, chat box is not enabled, so the feedback may be sent by another medium. Uh, Good afternoon. Am I audible to anybody?